Hi, I'm Karen Khale. I'm the Executive Director at the Civic Garden Center. I don't know about you, but I really like history, and that's part of why I love this place. It's filled with lots of history. Back in 1942, during World War II, a group of civic-minded women who also loved gardening decided to launch an organization to help people build victory gardens. From its very beginning, the Civic Garden Center has been rooted in community, positivism, and practicality. You may wonder how we ended up here on these beautiful grounds at the intersection of Taft and Reading Road. Cornelius Houck and his wife Harriet were early supporters of the Garden Center. Houck himself served as a treasurer for the organization, and Harriet helped with fundraising. Houck was also a passionate historian and horticulturist. What I love the most is that he began modifying and planting the area to create an urban sanctuary away from the bustle of city life. The area was near industrial businesses, and with coal being the primary source of energy at the time, the quality of air was quite poor. The property's nickname, Sooty Acres, came about after visitors often noticed that Houck's plants were covered with soot. The property covered almost an entire city block and was in a state of serious decay and suffered from poor stormwater damage. He began turning it into a lush, vigorous garden. His goal was to cultivate many kinds of plants to see which ones would thrive in gardens in this particular locale. The plant life that comprised the garden was largely rescued from estates around the city that were facing development. One of those estates was the Wilshire Estate Mansion, which is located on the plot of land where the CGC auditorium now sits. The lovely stone cottage close by was the basement of that estate. With the construction of what is now William Howard Taft, Houck's garden was divided in half, and a portion was donated to the city of Cincinnati. In September 1950, Houck donated another portion of the land, 2 acres of Sooty Acres, to the Civic Garden Center. These 2 acres were donated with the understanding that the land was to always remain public garden space. In 1951, our building was constructed to house a learning center and an expanded horticulture library, which you see behind me today, and spaces for classes. Today, there are 6 lovely gardens on our site, including a daffodil garden in honor of the center's first director, Peggy Pogue McNeil, who herself was a horticulturist. There's also a production garden staffed by volunteers and whose harvest is donated to local food pantry for seniors. Gardening and horticulture will always be at the core of what we do. Today also happens to be the first day of spring. I know we're in uncharted territory, and it's a scary time for lots of us, but I hope all of us can find time to enjoy nature and to get out there and see everything that's blossoming and blooming. Our staff horticulturist, Greg Torres, is still on site working outside, taking care of the diversity of plants and the beauty that is the Houck Botanic Garden.